The PoPolitickin show is brought to you by Audible. With over 180,000 titles to choose from, Audible is great for any continuous learner wanting to grow and expand their knowledge and insight. Go to www.audibletrial.com/POAudio and get an audiobook of your choice free with a 30-day trial. After the trial, your paid membership will begin at $14.95 per month. With your membership, you will receive 1 credit every month, good for an audiobook on Audible. Cancel before your trial ends and you will not be charged. So go to www.audibletrial.com/POAudio and download a free book by Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Napoleon Hill, Les Brown, Damon John, and more. Always remember that knowledge is power.
PoPolitickin.com.
What's up? This is Corina Corina. I am from Brooklyn, New York, and you are listening to PoPolitickin.
Another night, another letdown. Wanna cry, but I'm too proud. Can't bring myself to call you out, so I hold it in for now. Can't show you that it matters whether or not you're there. Shit would look pretty different if you actually cared. I've done so many shows, wondering if you would appear. Hoping I have enough drink tickets to wash it out down with beer. I work stages every night, then there's this internal fight. I shouldn't give a fuck, I'm getting enough love from strangers, and my fan base is growing every day. Don't wanna let those who want there to overshadow a new face, and my pride is always compromised. I handle it with grace, cause you have no idea I'm keeping it that way. Thank God for this pen and paper and the attention of strangers, but without some kind of outlet, I know that I'd be in danger of losing my shit. Disappointment. Because of people like you, now I know the ugly truth, that no matter what I do, I'll end up with the blues. I could do amazing things, win awards for what I sing, perform for the president, but you still wouldn't give a shit. No power, yes I know, over how you feel for me. And even if there was hope, you probably never let me know. So, I hope that the spotlight is extra bright tonight, shining so hard in my eyes that I almost go blind. The whole place will be cut out while I hear them scream and shout, but I know you aren't there without a shadow of a doubt. I hope they buy me extra shots the next after my set to distract me from the letdown. So faded I forget, then all I could remember is how much they all love me, and how I just bear my heartbreak where I'm okay being seen, losing my shit. Disappointment. Day in and day out, set up to be let down. I do it cause I have to, ain't no other way around. I strip myself bare behind the pop screen, tears in my eyes, I sweat, I bleed. For every small victory is a little bittersweet, cause another one has shown me that they're still not down for me.
Welcome back to PoPolitickin.com, your home for self-help meets hip-hop. Make sure you download our app on iTunes. That's PoPolitickin.com. I'm now politicking with Corina Corina. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It kind of, what's that one song, Maria Maria? That's what I wanted to say, Corina Corina, kind of.
You're not the first person to say that.
So why did you go?
I've had many drunk people sing that song to me.
So why did you go? Why you go by Corina Corina?
I was actually named after a song called Corina Corina. My birth name is Corina. I added the second one because there are a few other singers from back in the day with that name. And also it's kind of a nod to people like Debbie Deb and Lisa Lisa from when I was much younger. So there's a couple of reasons.
All right. So where's your hometown?
I am from Berkeley / Oakland, California, Bay Area kid. Third generation Bay Area kid.
So how was it growing up there?
It's really diverse. It's a huge melting pot, not just racially, but also nationality wise. There's a UC Berkeley University in my hometown, so I grew up with a lot of kids from other countries even, and that was really cool. I kind of grew up in what we call the Bay Area bubble. Like, I never met a Republican until I was an adult that I know of. And, you know, we grew up thinking that everybody was as open-minded as we were, which was nice, but also kind of a shock when I moved to the East Coast for the first time.
So where are you at now?
I'm in New York, but I lived in Boston when I was younger, and that was tough.
All right. So how long have you been involved with music?
Forever. I was born knowing that I wanted to be a singer. It took me a really long time to figure out exactly how to do that and how I wanted to do it, but I've always sang.
So I would think you was a rapper. So was you doing both, or? Everybody
thinks I'm a rapper. I am a singer who raps.
Okay.
I don't necessarily call myself a rapper. I grew up in the hip hop scene in the Bay, which was really big in the late 90s when I was a teenager, and I've just always loved hip hop and gravitated toward it, and have written for a lot of blogs, and you know, the DJs and producers I work with but I always called myself a rapper trapped in a singer's body, because I might as well be a rapper. I just sing better than I rap.
All right, then who are some of your musical influences?
Well, so it's kind of twofold, because I grew up on blues and soul music, and so I grew up, you know, in my dad's house listening to like B.B. King, Ray Charles, and stuff like that. And then when I was younger, I was really into Madonna and Janet Jackson and Mariah Carey and all those like pop divas, but also hip hop. I grew up with Nas and the Lost Boys and Wu-Tang and all those East Coast dudes that I got a lot of flack for growing up on the West Coast, but I always was kind of more of an East Coast hip hop head. So I would say like pop, blues, and hip hop are my genres. Okay,
so because I actually hear like a blues vibe in your music, so you do that on purpose?
Well, not necessarily on purpose. It's just a part of who I am. Mm-hmm. It's the first music I ever sang. My dad was a blues guitar player, or is still, and I grew up playing really heavy, depressing blues songs with him when I was a child and didn't even know what I was singing about. So it's just naturally embedded in me.
So what did you say makes you unique as an artist and kind of separates you from everyone else?
Definitely my influence. I think that having that like rootsy blues influence is big. I think the fact that I am a singer who listens mostly to hip hop, I think I'm more lyrically driven in a lot of ways. And I write music like I'm writing a rap song. And I don't know, I'm just kind of a strange person in general. So that translates into my music for sure.
All right. So speaking of strange person, let us know some things about you. Give us some interesting facts the average fan might not know about you.
Yeah, well, most of these, I'm a pretty transparent person, so most people who know me know these things, but I think people are surprised. I think some people think I have sort of a party girl type persona because I was a bartender for so long, and I say a lot about alcohol and that sort of thing, but I also do yoga almost every day, and I'm a vegetarian, and I was raised in like a total hippie compost pile in the backyard kind of vibe. So I think people are surprised that those two things go hand in hand, but for me, they always have.
Yeah, the yin and yang, right?
For sure. And also, there's a reason why I didn't like burn myself out and kill myself being a heavy drinking party animal who toured all the time. It was because I also took care of myself in the other ways. What else? I listen to podcasts on spirituality and self-help almost every day.
Okay. So you actually, now you in my field. So what are some of the, name some of what ones you like?
Well, I listen to like sort of chakra cleansing stuff at night, but I usually fall asleep way before. Like I'll put it on and like go to sleep to it in quotation marks, but I just fall asleep. But I listen to stuff like Lisa Nichols, Danielle Laporte, Gabrielle Bernstein, Lewis Howes. just people who are kind of like creative entrepreneurs, because as a musician, I'm also an entrepreneur, but I'm totally fascinated with our spirit-body connection and the habits that we form and the way that we get in our own way and all that kind of stuff. It's just like endlessly interesting to me.
So how important, what do you think about like the law of attraction and like positive thinking?
I think it's everything. And I think we forget so quickly. I mean, I could write it down 10 times a day and listen to it every day, and I continue to forget, and I continue to bring myself back to it. That's why meditation is important. I have a daily meditation practice, and it's just like sitting there realizing that my brain is like straying and then coming back to it over and over again. And I don't think we ever really achieve 100% presence. At least most of us don't, but we can at least get in the habit of knowing when we're not present and wanting to be present.
So
when we're being negative versus positive and all that.
I'm saying, how do you meditate?
I do it differently sometimes, but normally, so my alarm goes off and I'll write in my journal for 7 minutes and then I'll meditate for 7 minutes. And sometimes it's more of a mindfulness meditation, like I'll do like a chant or something, but usually it's just like coming back to my breath over and over again. It kind of depends on how tired and out of it I am. But I sit for 7 minutes no matter what.
Yeah, when you was talking about when you were saying being in the present, I was reading a book that was saying like, let's say however you feel like your emotions. Like say if you're feeling mad right then, you should like kind of check yourself and say, it's called a pivot. So you could check yourself and say, why am I feeling this way? What do I actually want? Then like shift your mind to what you actually want.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think we mislabel emotions sometimes. I had a voice teacher and mentor of mine said a long time ago, I used to deal with really bad stage fright and I would just have so much anxiety. And she pointed out to me, she was like, well, maybe it's not anxiety. Maybe sometimes you're excited and you're mislabeling it
butterflies.
As fear and anxiety. And the same could be true for anything. Anything I feel nervous about, it just means I care. And maybe I can give myself permission to feel excited rather than, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this to myself. Why am I doing this? And instead be like, I can't wait for this to happen. This is great.
Yeah, that's why I think it's very important, like the power of your words. You got to kind of, because people label themselves. Like you said, you be like, I got anxiety. Yeah, you got anxiety because you sitting there saying you got anxiety. So people label themselves and they give themselves like all this stuff. And sometimes it's just like you just don't feel as high as you feel the other day. That doesn't mean you're depressed. You know what I'm saying? But people quick say, oh, I'm depressed.
Right.
So it's
but I also think that kind of action takes energy and it takes action and it's hard and it's easier to be complacent. And I think that that's a problem with a lot of people where it's just like, meh, I don't feel good. Meh, meh, meh. Because it actually takes like reconditioning your brain and your habits to be like, to sort of go underneath that and dig deeper and try to change something. And some days we have more energy than others. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like some days I'm tired and I'm just in a funky mood and I just got to write it out. But then allowing yourself to be in a crappy mood sometimes I think is important too. We can't always just like, we can't always change everything.
Yeah, like, yeah. So what are your current projects? What are you working on right now? And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a crazy herbal tea concoction. It has dandelion root and a bunch of other things in it, and it looks so weird. I'm sorry that you saw that. It's good. I just started getting into herbs because this is one of like my personal projects, I guess, which obviously translate into my professional life, is that from all the touring I had done for so long and just having workaholic tendencies, I've like really burnt myself out. And for the past year or so, I've just been exhausted. And I'm just trying to take better care of myself. And that includes drinking really strange looking drinks.
And what else are you doing?
Just trying to increase the protein in my diet, increase the dark leafy greens. I took Facebook off my phone. I'm trying to sort of eliminate the unnecessary clutter, trying to look at my phone less, which some days I'm more successful than others, and trying to sleep better, just simplifying things. I think I wake up every day and my first and main intention is just, how can I not be stressed out today? And not necessarily taking the easy route, but I think stress is created by resistance from something I may not want to do. So kind of having a stronger connection with my intuition and what I actually do want to do, And if something's stressing me out and feeling wrong, then maybe I should see if maybe I don't want to do it.
Right.
So, yeah, sort of readjusting some of my lifestyle stuff has taken a lot of time and energy, but it's necessary. And my third album, Hangover Music, which I've been talking about forever and I've been performing the songs for a while, is finally being mastered now. I just listened to the first pass of it last night, which was exciting. I was like, I sound so good. And I'm not sure what's going to happen with that yet. My manager and I are definitely going to be shopping it to labels and trying to get some placements and stuff. And then maybe when things sort of slow down in my work life, I can focus more on deciding how to release it. I think it's one thing I have to sort of, going back to that intuition and spirituality thing, I think I have to sort of figure out what's right, because I've worked on this album for so long and it's so important to me, and I don't want to just like throw it up on Bandcamp and pray that people hear it. I did that for my first two albums, and it's pretty devastating. And I also feel like I've just, I'm past doing that. So I have to figure out the right way to do it.
It's funny you say that because, I just follow a lot of, like, music people on social media. And one guy was saying, like, you spend all this money making the music, but then people fail to put the money into the promo. So do you think that's an important part of it, too?
Hell yeah. Yeah, and it's so tragic that people... we sacrifice a lot as artists to put money into a project and make it right. I mean, so much. I lived on my dad's couch for a year to pay for this album, and I'm not just going to throw it out there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's part of making it to the finish line. Like, if you're going to be that thorough and intentional about every step of the process, it's not done when the album's done. Then the hard part really starts. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fun part is being in the studio with my producer and writing the music and creating it and then going on the road and sharing it. It's not really fun getting it mastered and figuring out the artwork and the technical things and putting more and more money into it and then hoping people will listen to it. But, like, that's the point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did the part of the process that was for me, which was exercising all these feelings I have and creating something beautiful, and I'm already fulfilled by it. But now I want to share it with people. I want the project itself to have a chance to be heard, and I want people to have a chance to hear it. So, yes, but promo takes a lot of money. And it's also, you have to find the right people, just like you have to find the right engineer and producer. Like, I've done promo campaigns before with people who did not do a very good job.
Yeah,
and it felt
I was going to say that's the thing, too. You pay all this money and get burned and all that stuff, too.
Oh, my God, it's so bad because there's no guarantee. Like, promo is expensive. Yeah. It's crazy expensive, and there's no guarantee. It's not like hiring an engineer who's like, right, okay, you pay such and such amount of music and I'll record it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'll send out a bunch of emails for you, but I don't know if it'll get picked up. Sorry. And, I've had people who write press releases where they spell my name wrong, or they say I'm from somewhere that I'm not from. And I'm like, I can do this myself if you're not going to, like, be thorough enough to fact check the basics. Like, I'm not from LA. My name has one R and one N. You know what I'm saying? So that turns me off a lot. So I think I definitely have to find the right people to get behind it.
All right. And where do you see your career 5 years from now?
Oh, man. I should know the answer to that more easily than I do. Mm-hmm.
Got to have that clarity, okay, right?
Well, no, I mean, it's interesting. It's easier said than done because, like we said, the law of attraction, I've been really trying to get more and more clear about my music career and where I want it to be. But for one thing, I will not have to have a job aside from music. That's always been the goal. I would like to be in a place where I am making a very comfortable, healthy living from my music. And writing, I write blogs and stuff too, and I really like doing that. And, all the same stuff I love doing, but except, doing it in a healthier, more fruitful way. So touring, recording, traveling. I want to do more speaking engagements just about like self-help and self-esteem and recovery and that sort of thing too, and sort of tie that into my public persona, which has been kind of something I've been doing for the past year, but I want to continue with that. And I'd like to do like a full-on blues album at some point.
So what do you write about? I
write about depression. I think that's become more clear. I've dealt with chronic depression for my whole life, so I feel like my songs are about my depression or about overcoming my depression or about helping other people with their depression. I think that that's like a common underlying theme. And that doesn't mean that all my music's depressing, but it's all, when I have those moments of joy, I really, really celebrate them because they're hard earned. So my few and far between sort of happy, joyful songs are like really happy and joyful. But my music through and through is honest. I don't think I've ever lied in a song. They're all inspired by real life events.
And why do you want to keep that authenticity in your music? So nobody writes songs for you? How does that work? You write all your own songs?
I write all my own songs.
I guess how would that work if you end up like somebody wanting to write a song for you? Like they'll have to get to know you or something, or it has to fit how you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I've done covers and stuff, but like I choose the covers that I want to do based on what speaks to me. I'm not against collaborating by writing a song with someone, but I don't need someone to write a song for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I love writing songs as much as I love singing, and for me the two go hand in hand, and I wouldn't want to give one of them up. I mean, if I got some huge deal and I'm in the studio working with a bunch of producers and there are people who want to like partner up with me writing songs, of course. But I'm not going to sit in a studio and have people play me 10 demos and be like,
yeah, that's what I was saying. What if they just say, hey, this is your song, sing it?
I also don't think that I'm the kind of artist that anybody would do that with me. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like that's more younger artists and maybe more pop leaning. I feel like a big part of my appeal and my whole package as an artist is that I'm also a songwriter. So I'm not too worried about that happening.
All right, and what are some songwriting tips? What are some things you do? What are some things?
Songwriting tips.
Yeah.
I think having a daily practice is important. Like even just like I have just a quick journaling practice in the morning, but I also am finding that forcing it is not really that productive. I think inspiration, we can't always control when inspiration comes to us. And I think if inspiration comes to you, like, don't put it off. Don't be like, oh, I'll remember that line later. Like, we have phones. Write a note in your phone. Just today I had like a melody that came to mind and I recorded a quick voice memo. Like, don't lose it. Keep a log of that stuff and, organize it. I think the discipline, if you're like, okay, for an hour today I'm going to write and nothing's coming, that's when you can sort of arrange things. But when ideas come to you, take them. And be honest. Be ruthlessly honest. And, I've had a lot of songs where I was afraid to put them out there. I'm afraid to share with my producer because we're friends and we have a lot of people in common and he knows my ex and all this stuff. And like, oh God, what's Willie going to think? But like the best songs come from just putting it out there and just not caring.
All right. And how would you define success?
Success is, going back to the whole stress thing, I think it's how it feels in your soul and your spirit and your body. I think success is if I think that me at 10 years old would have been proud of what I'm doing now. If I could impress my younger self and my older self and my higher self, I think that's success. That's super like hippy dippy sounding.
No, that's cool. I never even.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but that's a good way to put it. But nobody ever, because I ask questions like that all the time. Nobody ever put it that way. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, there's been moments in my life where I've been like, oh my God, 12-year-old Corina would be so impressed right now. And like, how cool is that? Who would I want to impress more than 12-year-old
But with me, like,
Corina?
I don't know, like, because my wife always, she's like, you had like a kid. Like, I do stuff just like a little kid still. So to me, I'm like still like a child.
Lucky you. Lucky you. Yeah. I think I'm so, I'm a Virgo. I'm so like on top of things and checklists and all that stuff, which makes me very productive and good at what I do. But I think sometimes I lose that like childlike sense of fun and wonder and joy. And I think people who naturally have it, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to embarrass myself.
That's great.
I'm not going to embarrass myself, so I'm just going to be quiet. All right, so how do you think social media is important?
Unfortunately, it seems to be important to everyone else, so it's going to have to be important to me. Sorry. I am a little more old school than that. I don't, I always say, like, if I wasn't, a public persona, I wouldn't even bother with any of this stuff, but it is important. It's the world we live in. I think it's important for getting information out, and that's what people pay attention to, so I'll play along.
Yeah, I think if I like you said, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I don't think I would be on social media either. Like, I don't like it like that. I think now it's kind of like, I think it's going to get to the point where you're really just on the camera 24 hours a day, and people are like just watching you 24 hours a day. Because that's what it's doing. Insane. Like, people don't understand that's where it's going. Because Snapchat is crazy. Like, I see people where, I saw this dude in the car the other day, like, you're not even enjoying yourself no more. It's like everywhere you're at, you're like, okay, stop. Like, that shit. And
it's one thing like seeing that online, but hanging out with people like that
shit looks crazy.
It looks crazy, and it's like so distracting and so unsatisfying. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm trying, I'm very much a, like, I love nothing more than going and having a glass of wine or dinner with somebody and just like talking to them for like 3 hours. Like we're here, we're in it, we're talking about everything. And that's my favorite thing in the world. And the complete opposite, there's nothing more opposite of that than somebody who's just on their phone the whole time or going like this with their phone. And, like, I didn't tell you it was cool to film me. Like, maybe I'm having a bad hair day. I don't want to be on your Snapchat or whatever. Can you put your phone away for half an hour to talk to me?
So I think that's the thing we were saying. So it's kind of like, okay, instead of being in the moment and being in the present, you're worried about basically, like, imaginary world. And people that you don't know if they're going to watch it or not. It's just an imaginary world instead of you being in your moment right then with that person. So, yeah.
And, I'm guilty of it sometimes, too. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I think social media has made us all complete ADD, and I tend to have that, too. And, like, putting my phone away is a discipline sometimes, and maybe I sound old or whatever, but, like, it's just not satisfying to me. I use it for a purpose. I use it to promote my music. I use it to keep in touch with old friends. But that's it. That's where it stops. I've been on Snapchat for like a day once, and I was like, oh my God, I can't. And, Instagram, I try not to scroll through it mindlessly because it usually just makes me feel crappy because I see people having fun without me or whatever, and it just doesn't feel good. And, Twitter and Facebook, I go on there and I lose interest because everybody's talking about the same stuff, or people are talking about things I don't care about. Right. I'd rather just talk to humans,
So you've been talking about a lot of stuff throughout the interview, but I want you to share a life hack that you use in your life.
Ooh, to-do lists.
Oh yeah, I do. Okay.
All about to-do lists. And another thing that's been working really well that I started at the beginning of 2017 is I have a group of women, creative women, that we have a weekly goals check-in.
Oh, so a mastermind group.
Yeah. We're kind of like, here are my goals for this week, quick check-in, and here are my goals for last week and how I did. And not everybody checks in every week, but I do. Because I'm like, Sunday night, I review. If there's anything I didn't hit on my goals list, I try to do it on Sunday. And it keeps me in line, whether they even read what I wrote or not. Like, it keeps me accountable. So, it's really important.
What I do is, just to share what I do, so I do it on Fridays before I leave work. I make a list and I write down, like, for next week, the stuff I have to do at work and the stuff I have to do in my personal life. So I write it on Friday for the next week. And then, like I said, I do the same thing, like match up, make sure I do everything. But then I have that weekly goal, but still when I come in every day, I still have my daily to-do list. So, yeah, I like those lists, though. Like I said, even if you I like how I do it Friday. It's like by Monday, even if I don't really look at the list, I'm already kind of like programmed because I wrote it down.
That's really good. Yeah. I might use that. I try to do that before I go to sleep also, just so that I can sleep peacefully. It's just like, I know what I have to do tomorrow. Done. I'll wake up, I'll look at the list again tomorrow, and I'll hit it. So that's helpful too. I think having a nighttime and a morning routine are important. My nighttime routine is not nearly as like pristine as my morning routine, but I think waking up and doing my journaling and meditation every morning has really made a huge difference for me too.
All right. And what advice would you give to any aspiring artist, somebody that wanted to kind of follow your path?
I think knowing oneself is very important. I feel like I wasted a lot of time sort of I wouldn't say wasted time. I took a lot of time when I was younger trying to dress a certain way or sound a certain way or be a certain way because I wasn't entirely sure who I was and what I was about. And I think the more you can prioritize that, the faster you'll get to that place and you'll be better. You know, I sing better when I'm singing from a place of where I actually authentically should be. I look better when I'm dressed the way that I feel most comfortable. So I think finding that sooner the better, whether that's like through therapy or journaling or just surrounding yourself with people who are authentic, who aren't trying to make you into something you're not, I think that's going to make all the difference. And ask people for advice. Ask people for advice. People love giving advice. It builds a connection, and like none of us know what the hell we're doing. The only way anybody learns anything is asking someone else.
And what would you like to say to all your fans, people who've been supporting your career so far?
Thank you. Thank you. My best work, you haven't even heard it yet, and I'm really looking forward to sharing the next album with you, and then the next album after that will be better than this one.
All right. I want to say thank you for coming through politicking with me. I really, that's why I be trying to figure out, like, some artists don't really be talking about them, but you're a very deep person.
Oh,
I like you.
I got plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You want to tell them your social media and everything?
Yeah, everything is Get Corina Corina, and my name is spelled Corina Corina. So that's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And my website is corina-corina.com.
PoPolitickin.com.
Thanks for listening to PoPolitickin.com, a self-help meets hip-hop brand. If you are an artist or business owner wanting to be featured on PoPolitickin.com, contact us at PoPolitickin@gmail.com. That's PoPolitickin@gmail.com or text 760-717-5803. If you're a listener that enjoys the show and wants to support, you can donate to PoPolitickin.com via PayPal.com. Please send donations to PoPolitickin@gmail.com. Any amount will be helpful in continuing to create quality content and shows. As always, check out PoPolitickin.com for past episodes. Make sure you subscribe to PoPolitickin on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play.